Hello, this is Deborah Cohen with a story and a song. And I hope that you are here to listen and learn either live. We're broadcasting on YouTube. The channel is at Jewish Rock Music. And on Instagram, my handle there at DeborahCohenMusic.com. The dot is spelled out DOTCOM. And also on LinkedIn, if you can find me. So today's topic is something that I'm studying more about. I discovered this new poet, Novalis, and I'm using his quote on all my stationery because it's so me. You know, he starts out by saying, every disease or illness is a musical problem. Now, if you want to hear the rest of that quote, you'll have to stick around after this brief message.
Hello, this is a story and a song with Deborah Cohen, sharing music from the 80s new wave genre to music for TV, film, and movies, as well as praise music suitable for Jewish and Christian soft rock. I share the story behind the recording of each song, as well as wisdom teachings from rabbinic sages and health topics for better senior living in the land of Florida. Please share this podcast and help it grow. Thank you. DeborahCohenMusic.com.
And I'm back, and this is Deborah Cohen, and it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood here in Florida. It's November 24th, 2024, and I see that Ben-Hur Christian, Shalom. Shalom Ben-Hur. I don't know how you say it, Ben-Hur Christian. Shalom. He's on YouTube. Thank you for listening. And I am going to talk about the healing powers of music, or music as a vessel for healing. Okay, so I came across this poet, and it was quoted in this book I'm reading. And yes, if I tell you the name of the book, then I might lose my place. So I'll try to remember to tell you at the end of this broadcast. Okay, so recall the words of the poet, that every illness is a musical problem, and every treatment or cure has a musical solution. Now, when I heard that or read it, I took it literally because I have experienced physical, mental, and spiritual healing while singing praises to our Creator. But the question is, was it the music, or was it the Creator, or was it both? Put your answer in the chat if you'd like, and I'll read it out loud during this podcast, a story and a song. So let's continue on with this thought-provoking question. The skill lies in finding the solution, that alchemy, that combination of tones, durations, and volume that will help the body and the brain along in their natural, evolutionarily developed healing processes. That's what I'm talking about. We all need healing. We might be in the peak of health. I've heard of fitness people, jocks they call them, that lift a lot of weight and they die at an early age in the peak of fitness. So even they need healing. If it's not physically, because they're in the peak of fitness physically, then you also need to consider that a human being is not just a physical being. Why would somebody that's physically fit die in their 30s. You can come up with all kinds of reasons, but if you understand the anatomy of a human being, then you would understand that they are physical and spiritual. After all, when you go on and leave this planet, some people call it dying, but I call it going on to a higher living, then the physical body that you see in the camera goes back to the dust where it came from, the dirt. Oh, isn't that something to think that you're looking at an earth suit? That's what I call it. But something else that is also you lives on, and that something else sometimes needs healing. So that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes you need soul healing, spiritual healing, mental healing. Yes, let's see what Ben-Hur, King David, sings with music instruments to God. That's right. And when King David would play his instrument to King Saul, the spirit of heaviness left him, the king. And David was just at that time a shepherd boy that was summoned by the king to come play your instrument for me, because there was something about the music, a magic chord, something, someone. If you think about this, let's get on our thinking caps and think. Oh, let me just comment on Instagram. Okay, apparently I cannot post. Okay, all right. We are all budding scientists asking questions about the world, a process that started in early childhood, but that many of us unfortunately had trained out of us by well-intentioned but impatient parents, teachers, and older siblings. And I can vouch for that because I just wrote an essay this morning and submitted it to Zippy Media, which is a book company out in the West Coast in America. And I started writing about what it's like to be Jewish in relation to my second grade experience as a little child who was doing this book activity in the classroom, facing another student. We were paired off, and we were told as little children that we had to ask questions of each other about the book for the sake of learning, sort of like a yeshiva, right? Well, I apparently asked a question before we got started. I asked Mrs. Dolan some kind of a question because she was making a statement about the book that I didn't agree with, and so I just said something about my opinion. And she turned to me and she said, "You would make a good devil's advocate." Well, I was in the second grade and I thought, I don't even know what that is. My response was, what I heard her say is, I'm like one of the devil's children. You're a friend of the devil. And I just kind of took it to heart with every other thing that I didn't understand, because I was misunderstood. Are you like that? Have you ever been so inquisitive with your questions that people are like intimidated by you, or they get defensive because they think my questions are directed at them to make them feel less than, when all I'm doing is asking questions? What's wrong with asking questions? That's part of being Jewish. Okay, anyway. All right, so let's talk about this. Most people in the world today use music in some medicinal fashion. And most people know what music to reach for when they want to maintain or alter their mood state, which is, neuroscientifically speaking, a brain state. We know what combination of sound waves will change our brain waves. Our individual differences, however, cannot be ignored. It's not one size fits all. In other words, if I tell you from my own personal experience that if you turn on Led Zeppelin, you're going to want to clean the house. But you might say, that doesn't do anything for me. Or whatever. It doesn't have the same effect because we're not all the same. And, when I was younger in my 20s, I used to crank up Led Zeppelin on 10 as high as my stereo would go and drown out my neighbors because I felt better. But me, the same person, decades later, would not do that. It wouldn't give me the same effect as I had when I was in my 20s. Today, I would be more concerned about disturbing the neighbors and preserving my ears for hearing. Okay, so let's see now. There is no such thing as one-size-fits-all playlist for focus music, or serotonin music, if that's what you want to call it, or exercise music. But there do exist some general principles. In general, for instance, music that makes us want to exercise vigorously has a predictable and easily discernible beat. The tactus, they call it Tactus, low bass. Well, that's not me. I like high bass. If you know me, I am a confessed bass junkie. And groove to keep us engaged. In general, relaxing music is slower in tempo. It has fewer surprises in it, whether those surprises are timbral, harmonic, rhythmic, or, as in the slow movement of Haydn's Surprise Symphony, volume. And our individual differences dictate what we will find surprising both in general and in any given moment. If you put this book down right now, which I'll tell you the title of, and listen again to the last song you heard, it will affect your brain differently because now your brain has changed since the last time. Isn't that cool? We're not always the same unless you decide to stop growing, which a lot of people at my age, they do just decide. Hey, Willie Nelson's in the house at Instagram. Hey, Willie, I like your newest song there. It's about a leaves, nature or something. It really, I related to it. I don't know if that's the real Willie Nelson. There's a lot of people that support, they're fans and they have a celebrity page, but some of them go too far. And they pretend to be the celebrity because they like all the attention. Okay. I wrote a song about that, actually. Somebody pretended to be Robert Plant. And I really thought it was him when I was so naive. I thought I was talking to Robert Plant, the singer of Led Zeppelin. Oh, my girlfriend. She had to peel me off the ceiling. She said, I'm sure it's not him. So I was so hurt after I found out this guy was an imposter, that I wrote a song about it called Catfisher. If you want to look it up, it's all about Robert Plant. So I thought. Anyway, okay. And Ben-Hur is saying, you are absolutely right. Thanks for your great information. Oh, thank you so much for listening. Okay, so the playlists that people post on social media or on Spotify or other streaming services are their playlists. They might work for you a bit, but they're never going to be as good as the playlist that you come up with yourself, either on your own or with the help of a licensed music therapist. As we approach treating diseases such as Parkinson's disease or Alzheimer's disease or PTSD or depression, among others, we would do well to bear in mind that there is never going to be a musical prescription when it comes to the particular musical pieces we use, and that whatever music works for treatment for a few weeks or months may need to be adjusted. So maybe something you listen to and it used to give you goosebumps, they don't give you goosebumps anymore because time for something new. I'm not talking about your spouse, okay? I'm not saying trade them in. No, you don't do that. They are a soulmate, hopefully. Took me a long time to find mine, but yep, he's a keeper, they call him. If it's beginning to sound as though music therapy is a guessing game with treatments that may or may not work, and that may work but only for a while, ask a doctor how often they have to switch up a prescription for their patients. Statins, blood pressure medications, antidepressants, and even antibiotics for infections like strep, pneumonia, or sepsis. It's not that a particular drug doesn't work. It's that our bodies, our lives, our minds, our intentions, and the sum total of our experiences are continually changing us. We don't always realize it's because consciousness sews it all together so seamlessly. The music that has helped you up to now may not always be effective. And that's where I'm asking you to listen to my music, DeborahCohenMusic.com. Make sure you spell the Deborah right, Debra, Cohen, Cohen, music.com. The music that has helped you up to now may not always be effective. With more than 100 million songs available today on streaming platforms, yes, I'm out there with them, there is surely a new batch of songs out there waiting for you to discover them. The very act of discovery is healthy, releasing dopamine and endogenous opioids and boosting the immune system. And it's fun to find a new favorite and play it for your friends. Play my music for your friends, please. And pass it forward. That discovery helps keep all of us younger, and mentally nimble. Oh, I love it. So some people have asked me, because I was participating in this beauty contest this month, November 2024. It's an over 40 beauty contest. And I, won the semifinals. I won the top 15. I won the top 10. I won the top 5. And I thought, wow, I'm going to keep going with this. But then all of a sudden I felt, now you might not understand this, but I'm going to tell you what I felt. I felt the presence of God leaving me. Now, I'm not saying that beauty contests are evil. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying sometimes God will put us on a path that we think is what we're going to keep going. Like, for example, the Israelites, when they started going in one direction, all of a sudden God switches the direction on you. Doesn't make any sense to you because his ways are not our ways. I'm thinking, I put all this effort into this beauty contest and had a lot of fun. And I was going to keep going, but it's more important to me to feel God's presence. And we all can feel, God's presence. If you believe that, you have to have faith to believe. If you want to believe but you don't have the faith, ask for more faith. Anyway, Laura's in the house at YouTube. Oh, I love it. Laura, thank you for being here with me this morning. I hope you're doing all right. Along with Willie Nelson on Instagram and Ben-Hur on YouTube. Say hello to your neighbor on YouTube, Ben-Hur. Okay, so music treatment begins as an invitation to start exploring new music and feeling the joy of discovery. Yes, the joy. And so let's see. I'm going to take a little break and I'm going to put in a shameless plug for my book, and I'll be back with some closing notes, closing thoughts. Okay, yes, that's the background music that I wrote for the song Catfisher, where I thought I was talking to Robert Plant online. Seriously? Come on, Deb. Okay. All right, so thank you for joining me, and we're going to wrap this up with a few more thoughts. This is from a website, keystoserenity.com. And I started out this broadcast by sharing a quote from this person that I'd never heard of, Novalis. But Novalis, he says a quote, and it just, when you hear something and you're like, wow, that's what I think. Well, here it is. This is what I think. Every disease is a musical problem. Its cure a musical solution. Whoa, that's what I talk about. That. What do you think that I have so much joy? I love to sing praise music, but I also write secular music, because you have to make a living as a musician, unless you want to have the day job. I've gone to the day job. Oh, I survived the day job, but I ended up with PTSD triggers. If you don't know about that, you can find it in a previous broadcast here. So let's just close with final thoughts here. How could one be so bold and reduce an illness to a musical issue? Maybe some of you are thinking that, right? What's she talking about? Okay. In fact, what the 18th century German poet meant to convey in such an inspiring manner, oops, I sounded like I come from Boston. I said manna. No, I'm not talking about manna from heaven. I'm talking about manner, okay? Manner, inspiring manner, was that every disease is a vibrational problem. Vibrational problem? That makes perfect sense, and here is why. Music is essentially made of vibrations, of resonance, of different sounds, frequencies, harmonies, and dissonances. And so are we, human beings, together with all other living things in nature. Nikola Tesla said, and I'll close with this quote, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." So there you have it. Is there a song that you think of when I say vibration? I remember a song by the Beach Boys. Some of you probably don't even know who they are because you're a youngin', okay? I'm thinking about, I don't know the song. I forgot the words, but good vibrations. Ooh. Okay, so I thank you for listening. I hope there was something in this book. Let me tell you the name of it in case you're intrigued like I am. I can only, I am not an avid reader of books because I'm always writing songs and recording. So I have to read something 3 times in order for it to really sink in. My husband's a speed reader. He goes through like a book every couple days. I'm like, I can't do that. I have to read a paragraph and chew on it and think about, what are they saying? What's the meaning of, what do they mean? And of course my questions got me into trouble as a second grader, which I already told you about if you were here for the beginning of the show. The name of the book is I Heard There Was a Secret Chord. I heard there was a secret chord. Name that tune. And the tiny quote under the book title, if I can expand the title here, Music and Medicine, something like that. I heard, just look it up, Daniel Levine, it looks like, or something like that. It's too small. I can't see it. When I try to expand it on my phone, it goes to the next page. Come on, Kindle, get with it. Okay. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this. And I hope you're curious about the book. Maybe you want to get it. And don't forget to get my music, DeborahCohenMusic.com. It's all about sharing. It's all about good vibrations. That's right, Laura. It's all about feeling good through music. Like if you want to, there you go. Laura gets the gold star today. She answered the question first. What was the name of the song I was singing? I heard there was a secret chord. And Ben-Hur alluded to it when he was talking about King David sings with music instruments to God. It's called Hallelujah. And by the way, Hallelujah. Let's sing with me. Hallelujah. 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 Does that make you feel good? It gave me the chills. Not it. God gave me the chills. Okay, I hope to see you next week right here on A Story and a Song. And it broadcasts Sundays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Yay! Okay.
Time to start the blame game. It's a hot matter. Stop, get it right. To live by logic. Unleashing feelings, causing all the trouble. The world is full of bots. Passionless honey. No emotional IQ. No emotional IQ.